The youth left the ground reluctantly and completely objected a strategic move to avoid imminent reckless loss of life at around 11:50 hours. Moments later, the security was intensified in town. All supermarkets and shops were flooded with anti-riot police, thereby creating a tense ground for any activity. Due to this threat, I was forced to go into hiding. We had previously vowed to fulfill our objective to mitigate the plight of the youth with our lives. However, the tense and heavily armed environment caused a panic in some of the young men and women, which left us with no option, which was to call it off and save the rest. As a leader, I took the decision to be a sacrificial lamb and subsequently became the target of the state security agents' interest. They are currently looking for me everywhere, and by all means necessary, but I'm equally looking for them also. As I earlier reiterated, no one is above the law, and we shall take legal action against this through consultation with our lawyers. I have a constitutional right to freedom of expression and association and a right to life as well. If indeed I did anything wrong, I would be charged accordingly and held before the courts. As I speak now, I'm even insecure and fear that they may even harm or attack myself or my family members, especially my beloved mother. Last night I was forced to flee from home around 19:20 hours. They came for me, discovering where I had sought to refuge, as I had become thirsty and got to purchase some refreshment at the township. ZANU-PF, ladies and gentlemen, has a history of bloodshed, unscrupulous dealings with the voice of the truth. It is an undeniable fact that ZANU-PF has a history of bloodshed and abductions. The precedents, which include the Gukura Hundi Kombai Smeda 2002 and 2008 elections, Justina Mkoko and Itai Zamara's abductions. The list is endless and the history is mad. Failure for this demonstration to take off is evidently shows that freedom of expression and assembly are cosmetic rights in our country and not of importance to the Mugabe regime. It is mind-boggling that the same party leadership is sending threats and treating me as prisoners and threats to the state security and lives of Zimbabweans. Grace openly fingered out that the thugs who bombed the epitome of corruption, that is the Gushungo dairy farm, were members of the Zimbabwe National Army. The prosecutor general is being pinned for trying to free them. The continued lifespan of ZANU-PF poses a threat of insecurity of Zimbabwe as a nation, more than just a mere 50,000 youth demonstration. History tells you that ZANU-PF has the ability of raising a separate army like the 5th Brigade, causing another massacre of more than 20,000 civilians like what it did in Matebeleland. Our parents suffered in the Chimurenga Wars, which were hard times of trouble. This was furthered by the Mugabe regime, which only guaranteed good life to a minority, and the rest are living in poverty. And we all agree to that. Now that the same regime, which is now being led by Dr. Grace, is steering us wild. And once more, we do not even know now what our future holds. As the First Lady, she does not even have the constitutional privilege of behaving in the manner that she is doing and insulting those who are her elders and of higher office than herself. However, they are a law unto themselves, indiscriminately deciding who the law should attack and who it should spare. My parents' dream was shattered, but I will not let it be passed to my generation. I will fight to the last breath of my life. I will remain aligned to youth movements which will allow all youth to take charge of this chaotic and scandalous situation. However, the Pope seems to be roasting itself itself with own fate now, as the oppressors are failing to put their crippled house in order. I have been briefed on how the president on Saturday failed to properly greet his own supporters that had thronged the great Zimbabwe monuments for the birthday bash. It is that instead he insulted them over the issue of denouncing his wife's action, which is now a clear picture of a bedroom coup. Some numbers started vacating the place after hearing such a statement, and gradually this is becoming unfamiliar with his own people. Some were left scraping for leftovers. Probably they had come hunting for a way to survive for another day. What a shame. As yet, our spirit will not die due to this encounter, but rather it will multiply. People had meals, drinks, but tomorrow after that bash, then what? This is a food for thought for everyone in here. I thank you, and my press statement ends.
Okay, that's a further to what you're saying. We find that within the crippling ZANU-PF former revolutionary movement, Kuzanai Chipang was made admonished for his threatening utterance against the war veterans. These war veterans are in essence our fathers and mothers, and as such, Chipanga was inciting the youth to beat up their parents. The vanguards of the party and the vanguards of the liberation struggle. This type of disrespectful and violent behavior should not be allowed to continue unabated. ZANU-PF has lost the respect they should have for the war veterans, which we will, however, continue to uphold. So venomous and provocative were the utterances made by Chipanga that they had the propensity to cause civil strife, and yet the president simply requested him to find a workable solution with the war veterans. Where is the consistency? And I wonder which youth was smoking dagga here. Where is the democracy that allows the First Lady to say what she wants in any manner she desires to people, and yet the youth are muzzled when they attempt to express their views? It would appear that freedom of expression is the preserve of a select few individuals. It is important that the president allows the youth to conduct peaceful demonstrations for him to be able to see the situation on the ground, as it is, as his advisors are obviously failing to tell him the truth. As an individual with a law background, we would like to believe that the president is cognizant of the fact that there are two sides to every story. The president highlighted that we allow democracy to have its role in society and accept the rule of law, and the fact that we do have a constitution and that compliance with that constitution is a must. So why then when they planned peaceful demonstration against the gross over expenditure by the party thwarted by state security agents, why were the youth threatened if they took part in them? When the First Lady stuck to a role of being a First Lady, we admired the philanthropic role she carried of giving to the less privileged and doing a lot of ameliorate the plight of orphans. While her history was known, it was not the source of ridicule, and she was respected. However, with one swipe and unbridled authority from her husband, she has managed to reverse all her gains, and she is the root cause of all our problems. If she so chose to enter the political arena on the back of a tireless work with the less privileged, one with the less privileged, she could have. However, with the agenda she is currently pursuing, the dream is now a very distant reality. The president then went on to slam gay marriages and yet continues to surround himself and hypocritically chooses to align himself with gay gangsters. On a positive note, the president did not speak out against child abuse and denounced its practice. However, when you look at the girl child in particular, specific policies have to be implemented to protect the girl child from early child marriages by implementing free education for the girl child in order to mitigate the prevalence of early child marriages. Almost a year down the line, we expected the president to make a statement regarding the adoption of Itai Zaman and the PDP Matabele South Provincial Secretary for Security, Elton Shelton. However, it has been the norm, silence. The National Youth Service is an initiative that I do not agree with and feel that it is a waste of taxpayers' money that would be better spent, channeled towards a youth project of funds to create more opportunities for the youth, and by so doing, creating avenues to alleviate youth unemployment. The idea of the National Youth Service seems targeted more towards the violent engagement of youth more than anything else, something which I vehemently denounce. ZANU-PF as a party is now devoid of all political capital. President Mugabe's birthday bash address served to announce to the nation that he is openly G40 and that politics in Zimbabwe is plagued by personality cult syndrome and offered nothing to the generality of the youth in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe People's first inaugural press conference further compounded the assertion that ZANU-PF is plagued by factionalism, and the obvious composition of ex-ZANU-PF members as components of the management team clearly portrays that the party as a faction that has led the mother party by default and is now a stand-alone faction. Therefore, in conclusion, as YAD, we do not waver that the president's address dismally failed to address issues focused towards the plight of the youth. The current leadership being displayed by the members in ZANU-PF is doing nothing to cultivate inspiration in the youth. The youth have held their constitutional right to freedom of expression and association brutally violated, and we call on the president to implement his code for compliance with the constitution and to create an enabling environment that will see the emergence of the increase in youth participation and representation in local and national policy formulation and implementation. I'm not sure if you have heard, over the weekend, the reports that the national coordinator had been arrested in Matabeleland South. Those reports were not a fallacy. We came here the last time, we appealed to the Commissioner General of the Police to stop this harassment of the youth, harassment of Zimbabwe. But then our call seems to have gone onto the ears of a deaf man. So yes, the MC was arrested together with the district leadership of the Mapisa district in the Matopo region. The national coordinator and the district executive structure, they were arrested, and the arrest was simply a means of fanning fear, trying to disrupt the movement of YAD, which is something I'm going to please try to reach out to the Commissioner General. It will not work. YAD is growing. The youth who actually volunteered to be arrested. He came for the national coordinator, and the district executive was clear that when you arrest our leadership, you arrest us, because the leadership is part of the people. So I'm going to reach out again to the Commissioner General and ask him to stop trying to disrupt the processes and proceedings within YAD as an organization. So I think we'll open the floor for questions from the members of the meeting.
If you want to tell us if you got a police clearance for the demonstration.
Demonstration in Masvingo. Yes, police clearance. If there was no police clearance, then the police would have come and legally arrested the people. But then, why then did we see people, gunmen who were not wearing any form of uniform, who did not identify themselves? They are obviously members of the Central Intelligence. Central Intelligence does not work with the therapy. You seek for clearance. Actually, POSA clearly says you notify. If you read the sham document, it says notify, not seek for. The police are not. We cannot put democrats of Zimbabwe in the hands of one officer in charge. You notify them. But anyway, we had tried to do such, and those processes were, however, completed. But then that's why we were shocked to see that these acts against the Masvingo executive continue to happen.
Can I ask Munyaradzi, how did you get to know that the guys would
Like what I said earlier, I went to get some refreshment at the township. Then when my mother called me and said, why did you lie to me that you're on off today? The guys from your work came and said they want to pick you up so that you can go back to work. And I said, no, I'm on off. Then when I came home, it said there were two guys identifying themselves, one of them identifying himself as Steven. They came looking for you so that we can go back to work. And I said, no, there's no one at that name at my workplace. So I clearly got to know that they are hunting for me, and it was not the first time for them operating like that on my back. So I had to flee because they said we're just going to make a few rounds. Then after 15 years, we just come and check up on him, and then we can get him to go back to work.
I think, thank you very much for attending. I think the position of
Yard and the youth has been made clear. Certainly, Yard does welcome the inaugural press conference of Mhungu, and I think it's important in the democracy that we also seek as a nation at the end of the day. I think once you become part of the game, you equally have to also face ZANU-PF. The only question that I have to say now that she's open, she's now come out clear. I don't know who ZANU-PF will now focus on. Will they now focus on G40 or Lacoste, or should they focus? That's something that we now wait to see as we move on. Thank you very much for attending.